Hey, what's up, people? This is Chris. Thank you for tuning into my channel again at I Am Toys. I appreciate the followers that continue to stick with me, and I just wanted to give you guys, a thank you and a high five on that one. So I'm coming at you with a review from Threezero today. This is the Halloween Michael Myers from Part 6. I'm going to try and get 2 reviews in today and upload it. I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be doing the Luke Cage that I just got from 1/6 Kit, which is also incredible. But anyway, back to this figure. If you are a horror fan, if you are a genre fan, this figure is a must-have, especially in 1/6 scale. I know a lot of people want a proper figure from Part 1, and there's multiple schools of thought on why 1 is not available yet. You know, people say, oh, it's because the figure's not that popular and no one will buy it. And other schools of thought are that if Hot Toys are busy with the bigger licenses such as Marvel and all the other stuff, so they don't have time for horror, which is probably partly true when it comes to them. But Threezero has been putting out some horror figures, and they haven't been too bad. Their Pinhead was okay. I think the tailoring on the outfit could have probably been much better. But this, for me, for the representation from Part 6, is pretty much a home run for me. I'm very happy with it. You know, would I like a Part 1? Absolutely. Will Sideshow ever put one out? I don't know. Another school of thought on why one hasn't come out is because of licensing issues. Maybe the licensing is hard for licensing is a little bit more difficult to attain for that film. I don't know how accurate that is. It could be true, could be not. I'm not sure if it's all done by the same studio, but I would imagine. If the studio is willing to work with Threezero on this one, I would assume that they'd be willing to work with them on possibly a Part 1, which would be sweet. So I had a few custom Michael Myers. I got rid of them actually within the last few weeks, just because, I don't know, I nitpick a lot when it comes to my horror stuff for some reason, more than other things. There's some things that I can let go when it comes to my more expensive figures, which is odd enough. But this figure only cost $150, and I'm really happy with it. As far as I'm concerned, Part 6, the Halloween franchise is like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street for me. They're all classics, so none of them are terrible in my opinion. You might have some favorites, that you could categorize from your most favorite to your least favorite. In my opinion, they're all awesome. This is probably not one that ranks in my top 3, but I would probably put it in my top 5. That's the one with Paul Rudd. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Part 6 regarding this one. I think this one represents the character pretty good. I went through and I was looking at some stills from the film, and when the light hits his mask, it almost makes me wonder if it wasn't just light, if they kind of varied, if they had a few variations of the mask in that film, because I swear he looked completely different in some of the scenes, the way the light was hitting him. So I can't remember. I haven't watched it. Man, when the heck? I think I just rewatched it about 2 weeks ago, and I think I'm recalling the same belief as well while I was watching. I think there's some kind of again, I don't know if they varied the mask or not, but when the light hits the mask in a certain way, it does change the look of it. And like the mask that's on the cover of the film, in my opinion, looks nothing like the mask that's in the film. So it's weird. The box cover of the DVD, or the poster even, it doesn't look like the mask that's actually in the film. And there are shots in the film when he's walking and whatnot that look spot on to this, actually. So I saw a few people, online in some of the forums that were saying, it doesn't really look spot on. But honestly, if you go back and rewatch the film, go Google some images, there are some shots that you'll see that this mask really does hit on the mark. As far as I can see, anyway, on quite a few of the stills that I've seen, and as far as a figure that you can get for $150, man, you can't beat it. With Threezero, you don't get a stand, and yeah, there's no diorama background or anything like that. So the base that I have them on is an old Joker base from one of the DX Jokers that I have that I'm not using, so I propped them up on that. It's a really good figure. Like I said, I sold some of my customs. I know a lot of people are fans of the ones customs Michael Myers that they put out. They are good, and I was tempted to get one of them a ways back, but their heads are just slightly out of proportion with their bodies. I find they make the heads maybe just a little bit too big for the proportion of the body, so it's always a little bit off. And then you can spend some buku bucks, man, which are trying to put a custom together between getting the tailored outfit and the weathering and the blood and everything else. It can really get expensive. So for this, for 150 bucks, and for a good representation of Michael Myers, in my opinion, you know, it's terrific. So I can't even remember when the last official 1/6 scale Michael Myers we got. I don't know if it was Sideshow or who the hell did it, but it was a long time ago. So I'm hoping Threezero can work out a deal with the studio and do a part 1, because I know that's what everyone is screaming about. But either way, this figure is definitely one that I want to have. And if Sideshow is watching, man, they need to take some pointers from this, because I don't know what the fuck is up with them when it comes to transitioning the weathering and the details of the figure from their prototypes to their production pieces. From the 1/4 scale Jason that they recently put out, and then they put out a 1/6 scale version of the same figure, both of them lost all the detail, all the weathering in the pants, all the blood, everything just about, man. And if you guys have seen my Friday the 13th reviews of both of them, I had to add the blood myself, and I did the weathering on it myself as well, and it came out really good, if not pretty close to the prototype, so I'm happy with it. But for the money you spend, man, you shouldn't have to do that. And I understand a lot of people's gripes, and then some people will try to argue, well, you know, that they pretty much relieve themselves of any responsibility because, you know, they have, well, the production piece might actually look different, the final piece will look different from the prototype. You know, that's fine, but I think they're completely fucking over their customers, man, and their fan base when they put out that, especially that 1/4 scale statue that we spent almost $500 fucking on, and it virtually had all the blood and weathering fucking erased from it. I mean, it's really ridiculous. But I mean, that really pissed me off. And Sideshow's not going to let you return it. They're not going to let you give you a refund. They're not. And what really tweaks me is I don't know if how well they follow up on their production when they're making these figures. If they have somebody going down to the factories and saying okay, or I would assume that they're getting some kind of communication back and forth as far as high resolution shots and emails of what the prototype or what the final production piece is looking like. And if I had gotten back as a company, man, if I had gotten production samples back that looked like the 1/4 scale or the 1/6 scale versions that were put out with virtually no detailed blood weathering on it, I would have said, fuck you guys, back to the drawing board, get the detail transitioned over, do whatever the hell you have to do. But unfortunately, there's a lot of us, you know, and I'm not saying I'm not one of them, man. We're suckers anyway, and we friggin' spend the money, and if we keep spending the money, they're going to keep doing that, you know, unfortunately. But I mean, trying to, you know, organize or boycott a company because of shit like that. Good luck trying to organize something like that. But I mean, that's the sad truth of it. If we keep spending the money on an item that is really, really pales in comparison to the prototype, and Hot Toys is also guilty of that as well. You know, quite a few companies. But we do buy them, so you know that they're going to keep doing what they do. So, you know, again, I'm one of them. I'm a sucker too. Quite often with certain figures, so it is what it is. But anyway, let's get, I've jabbered on long enough. Let's get into the head sculpt, and I'll do what I usually do, 360 pan, so on and so forth, go over the few accessories that he comes with, and then we will close out and we'll be done. Alright, and there's a close-up of the head sculpt. And, oh, I forgot to mention, because I'm sure a few people are probably wondering, what the hell do I have the figure in, the diorama? The diorama is a custom build of the Evil Dead cabin. For those of you that were wondering what kind of backdrop I had behind it, it's a custom that I had done of the Evil Dead cabin, which is, I seem fitting for this anyway as far as it's horror related. I think I'll do most of my horror figure reviews using this diorama from now on. So anyway, this is the head sculpt. I think it's really good detail on it. Is it 100% spot on? No, it's not. If you're looking for perfection in 1/6 scale figures, you need to get the fuck out of this hobby now. So you're never going to get perfection. You're going to get pretty close sometimes, but you know, you just have to, you got to take them as they come. So this is the sculpt. I think it's good. It's a good rendition of him from the film. You can even see the eyes coming through, which is really cool. Normally I would try to take the camera off and put this thing in a macro mode and try to get in and show you more of the eye, but enough of the eye is coming through that you can see it, which is pretty sweet. And I think that's a fucking killer detail. And as you can see on the left side of the shoulder, even, you know, the blood, everything kind of comes through, you know, which is really fucking awesome. And you have no idea how happy I am to see details and weathering and blood actually come through on an outfit, because I'm so used to Sideshow and their 1/6 scale horror and just nothing coming through, man, and having to do all the extra work myself, you know. But hey, we already had that conversation, so let me turn this figure around to the right and show you the up and down of the right portrait. I'm going to pan down, show you the front of the figure. Really killer detail, man. I'm so happy that the blood and the dirt and everything came through for the most part. They really did a good job on the hands. Decent detail, blood work on the knife. Debating whether or not I want to add blood to this. We'll see if I want to add more to anything. The knife outfit, I think it's pretty good for the most part. I know some people are going to want to put more in. I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to. It's all good. But overall, yeah, I'm very happy. So obviously the hair is rooted on this. I don't know if I mentioned that. Mention it again because I did take a break there between that cutaway. And I don't know if I mentioned this already too, but I'll mention it again. The joints are ratchet. Some people, they don't like that. It irritates them, but who gives a fuck? I mean, seriously, who cares? It's not like they move around on their own and they're going to annoy you in the middle of the night and wake you up because you're going to hear their joints ratcheting. You know, so who cares? That looks really good. So let's roll around, show you the, I guess we'll move to the left side portrait shot. Right side portrait shot. I can't remember if I said left side portrait shot though. So if I did, I lied. So right side portrait shot. Again, good blood detail. Again, that transitioned across from the prototype. You have no idea how happy I am that it did. Probably said that like 3 or 4 times already. But yeah, so it's just little things, man. It's just nice, you know? Yeah, the more I look at that knife, I think I am going to put maybe a little bit more blood on that. As you can see, good detail, man, on the outfit. All right, and now I'll show you the left side portrait shot. And as I said, we'll go down. You know, in my opinion, man, Threezero is really stepping up their game. Definitely stepping up their game as far as some of the figures they're putting out. You know, I really hope their Walking Dead Michonne comes out just as good as this, especially that sculpt, because that prototype looks amazing. Once again, the hands, I think they did a good job on these hands. It's really nice, man. Nice and deformed. Good paint application on them as well. Again, the figure doesn't come with a base. That's my DX base from the Joker. Threezero doesn't give you a stand, which is probably one of their ways of cutting down their costs, I'm sure. Alright, and going back up, and then we'll go to the back of the head. I think the root job on this is pretty good. Pretty good. I'm telling you, man, the detail, they didn't skimp out from the front to the back to the sides of this figure. It's everywhere. So this guy killed a lot of people. Man, I really hope they come out with a part 1. I really do. We can definitely bank on that Hot Toys is most likely not going to be the one to put that out. Sideshow, maybe, but being that Threezero has already jumped on it and put out this one, maybe there's a chance that they'll be the company that puts out the part 1 eventually. So Threezero, please work that deal out, man. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do, man. Get it done. Alright, let me pan back out to a full body shot, or actually a torso shot, and some last words, and then be done. I almost forgot to do the accessories. Whoops. believe it or not, these knives are actually die cast. I didn't notice that at first, but I happened to actually pay attention to the weight of it in my hand, and I'm like, this has actually got some weight to it. So it's actually die cast, which is sweet. And I believe the dirty one in his hand, which I showed you guys already, is also die cast, I believe, as well. I even dropped it on my table. I love that little ping sound. You know, and I believe it's definitely die cast. So you get an axe, which I don't believe is die cast. I haven't really, from the weight of it, it doesn't feel like it. And you get two alternate hands, one open, one partially closed, so you could hold the knife in the opposite hand. And I like Threezero. They're one of those companies that give you the pegs already in the hands, like Sideshow does. I do generally like that. It makes switching hands so much easier. So much easier. So those are the accessories. That's pretty much all you get. Again, the knives are die cast, and that's pretty sweet. So that's nice that they added that in. So let me go out to a torso shot, and we'll close the video down. All right. So in closing out the video, man, I'm generally happy with the figure overall. I've said it 100 times during the video. I'm very happy that the detail and the weathering and the blood on the outfit actually came through into the production piece. It's not as dark, I don't think, as a prototype, but still a lot of it came through, and that's great. And it gives you a little bit of a head start if you want to customize a little bit more. I'm debating if I want to put some blood splatter on there. I think I will. I think I will at some point if I have some time. Pros, man, for what you get, the price for 150 bucks. Die cast, a couple die cast accessories. I think that's awesome. The price is great. I think the detail is also pretty good on the sculpt. I think they came as close as they could, I guess, to this incarnation of Michael Myers from Part 6. I know this is probably not the Michael Myers that everyone wants, but hey, hopefully Threezero, you know, they really, I hope they get that contract, man, or they get that license and they put it out at some point, and I hope they do it justice. So I was going to do a few, maybe, I wasn't going to bother doing any articulation with this, really, because you really don't see Michael Myers in too many other poses except for trying to stab somebody or walking towards you to stab you. So it's not like I'm going to put him into some superhero landing or some kind of bullshit like that. So there's really no need to get into a pose-a-thon with this figure. So most people are going to have him in an action pose, which is his arm up, you know, with the knife up, about to stab you, or in probably this kind of pose. Or you may want to get creative in another way, who knows. You know, we got a lot of collectors out there with some great imaginations, especially on Instagram and on OSR and everywhere else. So that's it. Thanks for sticking through to the end if you did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video if you like it. And don't forget to hit that 4K option on your on YouTube so you get the full resolution out of this and you really get to see what it looks like. So, alright folks, peace out, deuces.